This is Fred Wall, the Visa Coach, and today's topic is, well, choosing to apply for a K1 Fiancee Visa or CR1 Spouse Visa. Which is the better choice?
VisaCoach. Fast, easy, and personal.
I am Fred Wall, the Visa Coach, and I'm known for the personal, one-on-one relationship that we share. That's you, me, and your partner, as we work together as a team to overcome the many challenges of immigration. Please don't risk your happiness. Don't go this course alone. Alone, it's far too easy to make mistakes that cause tears, delays, and expensive denials. Pick up the phone and speak with me directly so that you and I can get to know each other. This is the free introductory consultation I talk about later. If we are compatible, well, that's the beginning of our beautiful relationship to get you the immigration approvals you need. Now, this is what two of my clients, Kyle and Melissa, had to say. Melissa comes from the Philippines, and I helped her get her Fiance Visa. First of all, I would like to take the time to thank you, Mr. Wall, for all that you and your crew has done to help Melissa and I to finally come together in the U.S. It was a long road, and without your assistance, we would not have been able to make it. Everything that you taught us and gave us as tools along the way was invaluable to the success of our visa approval. I can honestly say that we would not have made it without your help. If I could give any advice to anyone looking to do what Melissa and I did, I would say listen to everything the Visa Coach says to do. Thank you. When we did have delays, and we did, he was able to direct us with the right information to put us back on track. One of the big things that I would have to say helped us was communication. Communicate with the Visa Coach and keep him informed of any problems or concerns. Communicate with each other frequently and often. Forward all documents that you get to the Visa Coach and make sure each of you have copies of everything. Yes. Like I said earlier, the Visa Coach gave us everything that we needed. I just wanted to drop a few lines to let Mr. Wall and everyone who reads this know how appreciative I am to the Visa Coach for all that they did. Well, Kyle and Melissa, you are most welcome. Now, let's talk about what is better, the K1 Fiancee Visa or the CR1 Spouse Visa. When bringing your partner to live with you in the United States, well, you have two choices, and they both but not married yet. This visa allows your foreign fiancé to enter the USA for up to 90 days. And if he or she marries you within those 90 days, your new spouse is then eligible to apply for permanent residency and to stay in the USA and to obtain his or her green card. The spouse visa, CR1 visa, allows your foreign spouse who you already married to enter the United States, and permanent residency is already pre-approved. Actually, there are two kinds of spouse visa, the CR1 and the IR1. The only difference is how long you are married on the day that you apply. And if married less than 2 years, your spouse gets a CR1 visa. If married longer, your spouse gets an IR1. Since most of my married clients are newlyweds, I will just refer to CR1 visas, but the process is the same for IR1s also. Spouse or fiancé visas are similar, but which is better for you? Well, it depends upon your priorities. The three main considerations most couples have are speed, cost, and how early the spouse can work in the USA. For overall speed, the fiancé visa is about 7 months faster. For economy, the spouse visa costs about $1,000 less. For permission to start work in the USA, well, the spouse visa allows your spouse to work immediately, even on the day of arrival. While normally on a fiancé visa, your new spouse needs about, 5 months to start work. Now, the process for a K1 Fiancee Visa is as follows. First of all, you have to have met face-to-face. This does not count webcams or Skype or telephone calls. This means the two of you being physically in the same space, meeting each other, seeing each other, breathing the same air. And that's the basic eligibility requirement. Then once you have met, you decide you want to marry and are engaged. You submit a fairly substantial application to USCIS, well, that's Homeland Security. And this application we submit is the, well, front-loaded petition package that, well, VisaCoach is known for. Homeland Security reviews the petition and approves at least their part, then passes the case on to the U.S. Department of State. The Department of State operates our consulates around the world, and they'll send your case to the consulate that's closest to your fiancé. The consulate asks your fiancé in for a screening interview, and that is when the visa is approved or denied. Once the visa is granted, the visa is good for 6 months for your fiancé to travel to the USA. And once here, your fiancé has 90 days to look over the situation and get married to you. After the wedding, there is one final step. Your spouse's K1 visa is expiring, and for permission for your new spouse to remain permanently in the USA, you need to apply for adjustment of status. Your spouse is adjusting his or her status from a temporary 90-day only visitor to a lawful permanent resident. Now, in the case of a spouse visa, you first marry your foreign partner. You then prepare and submit the spouse visa application to Homeland Security. USCIS reviews and hopefully approves within, well, 2 or 3 months, but right now it's probably about 5 or 6 months. After USCIS approval, they pass on your case to the Department of State, to their National Visa Center located in New Hampshire. Now, unlike a Fiancee Visa, where your case is only briefly handled by NVC and relatively quickly sent overseas for further processing, NVC is now more intimately involved with your case. You go online to pay fees, submit more information about your spouse, then you submit a second application package. Well, at VisaCoach, we call this the mini petition. It contains basic civil documents, police clearances, plus evidences of your income. Once NVC is satisfied that the mini petition is in order and all payments have been made, they notify you that they have scheduled an interview appointment for your spouse at the consulate handling your case overseas. At the consulate, your spouse has the final screening interview, and the visa is approved, well, or denied. The CR1 spouse visa process is what's called regular immigration. That means that once the visa is approved, your spouse is also approved for permanent residency, and the green card is actually waiting for her to be issued after arrival to the USA. So, unlike the Fiancee Visa, there's no need for any adjustment of status steps after arrival. Now, once your spouse does enter the USA, she or he confirms your home address with the immigration inspector at the first port of entry, which triggers the process to issue the green card, which should be available a few months later. Now, for most, the critical difference between fiancé and spouse visas is how long one must wait for the final interview and issuance of the visa to allow your partner to travel to join you in the USA. In 2018, K1 visas on average is currently taking between 7 to 9 months from the time the petition is submitted to Homeland Security to the time your fiancé gets the visa embossed to his or her passport. The spouse visa takes roughly 7 months longer, usually on average between 12 to 15 months. Why does a spouse visa take so much longer? Well, primarily the delay is caused by the extra time it takes to approve permanent residency. The Fiancee Visa is officially only for a 90-day stay. The spouse is for a permanent stay called permanent residency. And permanent residency in the eyes of immigration, well, is a much bigger deal. Here are a summary of the costs for a K1 visa, all the way through to getting permanent residency or the green card. I include the cost of permanent residency because, well, it provides a more relevant comparison against the spouse visa because the spouse visa includes permanent residency as well. So the fees I give here both end at the same immigration status for your new spouse. She has her conditional green card. Now, when you send in your K1 visa application to Homeland Security, you include a payment of $535. Your fiancé pays to the consulate another application fee of $265. And prior to the consular interview, your fiancé must undergo a medical exam. And the fees for this, on average, are around $300. Then, finally, your fiancé arrives in America and you marry and apply for adjustment of status. At the original medical exam overseas, your fiancé's vaccination records were checked. However, the standard for vaccinations for a 90-day visa and permanent residency are quite different. Now in the USA, now planning to stay permanently, another doctor is tasked to review the vaccinations again in order to confirm that they meet the higher standards. This usually costs about $100. Finally, the filing fee for adjustment of status paid to USCIS is $1,225. All in, from first K1 application through to green card, the grand total is roughly $2,425. Now, the costs for a spouse visa are as follows. The Homeland Security application fee, same, $535. And at the National Visa Center stage, you pay separately online, using your credit card, $120 as the affidavit support fee, plus $325 for the consulate application fee. Prior to the consular interview, your spouse must have a medical exam, which will cost roughly $300. Finally, after the interview, but before beginning the journey to the USA, there is one final fee to be paid. This time it is to USCIS and is called an immigrant fee. It is paid online and the amount is $220. The final cost from submitting your CR1 visa application through to green card is roughly $1,500. So here's a summary comparison between the fiancé and spouse visas. Initially, both applications start similarly with a petition filed to USCIS. The earliest time that you can file for the K1, well, has to be after an actual face-to-face meeting. Whereas for the spouse visa, it needs to be after the wedding. Average time to process, 7 to 9 months for the fiancé or 12 to 15 months for spouse. Total fees through to green card is $24.25 for K1 compared to $1,500 for a CR1. Now, immigration is always concerned about catching those who fraudulently enter into sham marriages solely for immigration purposes. The critical part of the interview process at the consulate is to determine if the couple is bona fide. The consular officer will closely question, well, read that as interrogate, your fiancé or spouse until the consular officer is convinced, or not, that the application is based on a genuine relationship by a real couple. It is at the interview that the benefits of, well, my VisaCoach front-loaded presentation petition are so important. This is where the higher VisaCoach standard for crafting front-loaded presentations, well, wins the day. The consular officer always reviews the case file before the interview starts. Now, our plan is that he will find many good reasons why he should trust you and approve the visa. Even before he invites your spouse to sit in front of his desk, he should already be mentally prepared to say yes. This makes the interview a fast and friendly formality. Most VisaCoach clients hear welcome to the USA in just 3 to 4 minutes. Now, I get phone calls from guys saying, well, there's not going to be any issue about the consulate believing my case because I spent a lot of money to fly there, or during my trip we got married, and sure, that's all they need to approve my case. Well, sorry, that's just not how it works. It's not how the consular officer views your situation. Everyone in a long-distance relationship suffers extra costs for travel. And the standard for the consulate to accept that your relationship is bona fide is far more complicated than just giving you credit for spending some money and travel time and even spending an hour or two in front of a justice of the peace. For a fiancé visa or spouse visa, the burden to prove your bona fides is the same. It requires a whole rainbow of evidences to demonstrate that yours is a sincere, genuine relationship. So, which visa is better? It depends upon your priorities. The fiancé visa makes sense if you want to start your life together as quickly as possible. It allows you to start your lives together in the USA about 7 months sooner. The spouse visa makes sense if your fiancé really wants to have a dream wedding in your fiancé's home country in front of family and friends, or in case she or he wants to start work immediately on arrival to the USA without any delay or interruption. This was Fred Wall, the Visa Coach. Now please like or add your comments to this video, and then go to VisaCoach.com and sign up for the VisaCoach monthly newsletter. Each month it is full of tips and advice on marriage-based immigration, and it's free of charge. And when you sign up, you get 2 free ebooks that I have written, 120 K1 visa interview practice questions, and 5 things you must know before starting your visa. Finally, when you are ready to get started, well, do call me for your free introductory consultation and speak with me directly.
Before starting your immigration adventure, before entering an arcane maze of rules, regulations, and procedures, before committing yourself to a risky path that could mean an end to your happiness, speak with the Visa Coach and ask for his free consultation. He listens to you to learn the red flags and strengths of your case, your eligibility and goals. He will suggest which visa is right for you, the best strategy to get it, and how soon your love can join you. The friendly advice and wisdom he'll freely share with you might make the difference between approval and denial, and could save you months or years of loneliness and separation. What have you got to lose? Book your free consultation today.